We'll start in the AFC. AFC East, you got the Patriots, who have won 10 straight division titles, Chris Simms, but this is the year they go down.
I wonder if they'll win it again this year. No, I don't wonder. Okay, yes, I am certainly picking the Patriots to win the AFC East, okay? Right off the bat. AFC East is one of the toughest divisions. As you know, okay, first off, the Patriots are a phenomenal football team. There's nothing really not to like about the team, okay? Plus, they have the first week is tough, but a favorable early season schedule. I do look at this. Weeks 8 through 14, if I was just going to pull that up and talk to you there, I'd go, ooh, watch out for that stretch for New England. If there was one area of the schedule where you can go, ooh, they might slip up, it's Browns, it's Ravens, it's at the Eagles, it's the Cowboys, it's at the Texans, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow. That's pretty real, right?
Yep.
That could be the stretch where I just look at it and go, that could be the difference between them being a 1 seed or maybe a 2 or a 3 seed. But more times than not, that time of the year, New England's rolling in all cylinders. They win the AFC East. Here's my thing.
Yep.
I like the Jets and Bills a lot.
You do?
I do.
So there are some people that don't think any other team will finish above 500 in the AFC East.
I kind of thought, ooh, I might pick the Jets and Bills to go to the playoffs. Ooh. When it came down to it, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. There's too many unproven commodities. I think both organizations are going in the right direction. I certainly do. We're not going to waste our time talking about the Dolphins. We know they're in rebuild mode. I think the Bills and the Jets are going to be a pain in the butt for a lot of people. I think they're going to be in the playoff conversation come week 15, 16. Wow. I still think they will. I think there's a lot of good coaches and good players on both those rosters. Ultimately, here's my big thing to take away with the Jets. Their start of their schedule is just brutal, okay? I think they're going to fall into too deep of a hole early on to work themselves out of it, okay? Bills, I know, okay? Bills are good. Yep. They're at least as good as the Jets, okay? The Browns, at the Patriots, at the Eagles, Cowboys, at the Patriots again, Jaguars. And then at the Jaguars, right? So I looked at that and go, I don't think they're going to survive that stretch enough to put themselves in the spot later on. So that was my biggest reason. And the Bills, a little bit of the same type of thing. Again, these are unproven commodities with young quarterbacks going in the right direction. I just got to see it a little bit to believe it. And the Bills, I thought, have a really tough end of the season schedule. I think will ultimately knock them out. But either way, I think they're pains in the butt, but I just go with Patriots in the AFC East.
Jets and Bills both could lay the groundwork maybe for 2020.
Exactly right. I think that's their year, right.
We're going to sprinkle in some of these AMA questions that we got from our great listeners who rated and reviewed the podcast on Apple Podcasts wherever you listen. So we'll take those questions specifically and ask them to Chris here. We do have one on the AFC East from Bonsai Style. It's a Pat's question. It sounds like Sony Michel has greatly improved his pass catching ability in training camp. Does this add another dynamic layer to their offense going into this year?
100%.
You've seen that too.
Well, yes, and that's all we've heard about is that, he was one of those guys that you could see he could catch the ball coming out of Georgia. He just wasn't afforded a lot of opportunities.
Sure.
And then, last year, kind of the same thing. I mean, really, Sony Michel didn't start hitting on all cylinders until late in the year last year. He was kind of dinged up, battled with some injuries, and then finished really strong. But when you keep a guy like him on the field, again, with New England, who's amazing at doing personnel sets and formations and everything like that, of late, it's been, here's our running back. Sony Michel's the bell cow. Oh, James White's in on the passing situations. And defense has kind of play to their hand to that. It's going to be hard to do that if they can really get Sony Michel greased up in the pass game. Then he can be a shotgun guy that's next to Brady. And you go, ooh, I thought they were going to get in a power formation and run the ball. Oh, no. Both tight ends split out. Michel's in the backfield next to Brady and a legitimate passing threat out of the backfield. Or he's lined up in the slot. That's where it can be dangerous. Sony Michel, a very good player. And, of course, the Patriots, their offensive line, their run game is as good as anybody in football.
Pat's going to the playoffs, winning the division for the 11th year in a row, according to Chris Simms.
Of course.
AFC North, a question from Pricey Lamb, 242. Just want to know who's the better Harbaugh coach, Jim or John?
Oh, that's not even close for me. John is the guy I go with all the way, okay? I like Jim, all right? Jim's a good coach. I don't like Jim. I actually dislike Jim, okay? The person, I do not like Jim Harbaugh. I root against Michigan every week, okay? Hands down. Him as a football coach, I'm able to differentiate. He's a very good football coach. Is he overrated, Jim Harbaugh? Of course he is. We talk about him like he's Urban Meyer and Nick Saban. And I want to go, what negative ghostwriter? The pattern is really full, and you're not in the pattern, okay? So Jim is a phenomenal football coach, John, excuse me, and I think John's one of the best head coaches in all football.
Okay, so you go John over Jim.
Yep.
Do you go John and the Ravens over the Browns, Steelers, and Bengals in the AFC North? How do you see this one shaking out?
This is the division here. And I told you, I've been thinking about this a lot over the last few weeks. I've gone Browns in the playoffs, Browns out of the playoffs. Ravens in the playoffs, Ravens out of the playoffs. But I think I really got into just roster, and schedule. I got the Ravens going to the playoffs. I'm not going to give should I give away how I'm ranking them,
As we go? Yeah, that's okay.
You want me to do it?
Yeah,
want me to rank them?
What seed?
Okay, I got the Ravens going as the number 5 seed. Okay, they're not winning the division. They're going as a wild card team, all right? Ultimately, I think one thing, again, I'm big on early season schedule. Okay, the Baltimore Ravens early season schedule is the 2 worst teams in football, all right? It's the Dolphins and Cardinals. Okay. If they're not 2-0, then they've really messed something up. Their defense is still top-notch. I think they have one of the best secondaries in football, one of the best front sevens in football. O-line is top-notch. Only thing we really got to see is just a little consistency in the pass game. I think once we see that from Lamar, the Ravens for me are a playoff caliber football team.
I'm doing all these fantasy drafts, and Lamar Miller is the guy that's going off the boards that people are hoping really has one of those years where he runs.
Lamar Jackson, you mean?
Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson, where he goes for 1,500 yards rushing and improves his passing.
His passing looked better in the preseason, and I certainly think the running is going to be every bit as effective. I do.
So here, it's interesting that you got the Ravens going, and so you haven't picked your division winner yet.
Nope.
So the Steelers' odds of winning the division have improved over the last month if you look at Vegas. The Browns, though, are still favored to win the division, and they have not won the AFC North title since it was created. So they have never won it. Could this be the year?
No, it won't be the year. But I do think the Cleveland Browns will go to the playoffs, I have them going in. I got the Cleveland Browns being the number 6 seed in the playoffs.
Wow.
I do.
Okay.
They're just limping in. Now, they have a tough schedule, too. And I will say this. In the AFC, I think it's going to be really, really, bunched up at the bottom of the AFC playoff brackets, right? Where, I think the Browns could get in at 9-7 and also be 9-7 with the Jets and maybe the Buffalo Bills, but beat them head to head, and then they won the tiebreaker, right? I really think this could be one of those years where there's some teams that are very all close or have the same record. It's going to come down to tiebreakers. The AFC is a tough year to pick this year. But either way, ultimately what I come down to, and I'll talk a little bit more about the other teams who I left out and why, the Browns roster is too talented. The addition of Steve Wilkes on defense, I think, is an improvement. Sheldon Richardson and Olivier Vernon on the defensive line is legit, And then the offense, the only question there is at all is maybe at the right guard position. Other than that, they are pretty damn stout across the board. I think they lose some games here or there. They might lose their way. Might be some ups and downs, but I just think ultimately the quarterback, the talent on the team, the system on both sides of the ball is too good, and I think the Browns barely get in.
So they're a playoff team.
They barely get in because they get to end the season with Bengals, Cardinals, Ravens, Bengals, and they win 3 out of the last 4 to get in on some tiebreaker over somebody. That's kind of how I envisioned it all playing out.
And that makes sense. You see that a lot where the teams that have the momentum, that have, they've added Odell Beckham, they've got Baker Mayfield playing at maybe an MVP level this year. But you do still have to build up. And even the Golden State Warriors, when I was out there in the Bay Area, we're not the Golden State Warriors right away. They had a few playoff failures before they got to the promised land for them. So you got Browns in the playoffs, though, not winning the division. You got Ravens in the playoffs, not winning the division. So you have 3 teams from the AFC North in the playoffs.
3. I am. I'm going
Steelers
3.
winning it.
I got the Steelers winning the AFC North. Now, hey, the one thing that really scares me, and again, I think Pittsburgh's on a mission. I do. I think first off, their team is phenomenal. Again, one of the better offense and defensive lines in all of football on both sides. Devin Bush is going to be the savior of that defense overall. I think they've shored up their secondary. Hey, missing Antonio and Le'Veon Bell. Hey, they missed Le'Veon last year. They were still pretty damn good in the run game. I know James Conner's not Le'Veon Bell, but I just think the Steelers are refocused, no distractions, and you've heard me say this, they're still one of the most biggest physical teams in all of football, let alone they have a quarterback that can dice you up in the pass game. This is where I get scared with the Steelers, though. It's really about the first 6 weeks of the season. Patriots, Seahawks, at the 49ers for their home opener. That's scary.
That's tough.
Okay, Bengals. Hey, they should beat them, but the Bengals are a division team that's not afraid of them. Then it's Ravens and then Chargers. If they can just survive that stretch, That'll be the big stretch for me. Where if they can go 4-2, or not just be 3-3 or 2-4, I think they're really going to set themselves up to win that division ultimately.
That's interesting. I mean, that's a lot of talent off the offensive side. Of course, you're right.
Le'Veon
was not
there last year.
James Conner stepped up.
Exactly right.
Gave him just as much. You don't have Antonio. Juju's got to be the guy that Big Ben goes to. Big Ben has to stay healthy once again, which
no doubt,
for the most part, has done over the past few years.
He has.
Steelers had won 3 of the previous 4 division titles before the Ravens won it last year, and according to Chris Simms, they will be back.
I do.
What overall seed do you have?
I got the Steelers as being my number 3 seed.
Okay. What'd you have the Patriots?
Patriots is 1. I made the Patriots the 1 seed. Okay, and then yes, I got the Steelers 3, Ravens 5, and the Browns 6.
Okay.
So that means we're going to have a Steelers-Browns wild card game matchup, just so you know right now.
So we've got
Steelers-Browns wild card.
Ooh.
Right to start.
Don't give it away. You're going to pick that one, right?
I am going to pick it. Yes, I am. Yep.
So that means we got the AFC South, which is a very, close division.
It is.
That's a bunch
like
of
the
teams.
North.
Any team could win that.
Right.
You see one playoff team. I'm kind of surprised you only see one playoff team coming out of the AFC West, but we'll get to that in a second. So we'll go AFC South right now. Colts were the heavy favorite to win in July. Now Vegas has dropped them to finish last in the AFC South.
Last,
do you see that? I mean, do you think they're going to finish last?
No, I don't. I think if you made me pick, I'd pick the Tennessee Titans to be last. But that division is so close. Again, this is where the winner of this division might be 10-6, and there might be 2 teams. There might be a 9-7, an 8-8, and a 7-9. I mean, it could really be that way.
The most open division in all of football, 1 through 4. Now.
I think so.
Any team could win it. Texans are the favorite.
Okay.
Can they take advantage of the Andrew Luckless Colts?
It's a big question, okay? The playoffs generally have at least 4 new teams every year if you look at the history of the NFL playoffs, all right? I got 3 new teams coming in the AFC, all right? I got the AFC South champions as the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Whoa.
I'm going the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they're one of those teams. Again, I just think there's too much talent. The defense is certainly one of the 3 best in football. And now they just got a guy like Josh Allen, a top 10 pick, who's just shown that he's a freak of nature. Okay, the Titans, I told you about them. I'll get them out of the way. I think Titans are good, a pain in the butt, but I just don't see it. I don't know if there's enough difference makers on either side of the ball right now for me to go, okay, what is the identity of the Titans? I don't know. They're kind of one of those teams where they go, there's a lot of good, but there's nothing they do great or no one great unit or anything like that. So that's why I say no there, okay? The Indianapolis Colts really like the football team. I like Jacoby Brissett. Again, I'm not having them go to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to fall off the planet. I think they're being very much in the conversation.
They were a playoff team with Andrew Luck.
They were definitely going to be in the playoffs with Andrew Luck.
And now without him, they're not.
I got to see it. And it comes down to, some of this is a little bit of, I go, you heard me say Andrew Luck is worth 2 wins a year to me because of his clutch factor and what he can do late in the fourth quarter. He's been as good as anybody in football since he's come into the league. I got to see Jacoby Brissett do that before so I think, Andrew Luck makes them 10-6. Without them, I think they're an 8-8 football team. I got them on the outside. I hope Jacoby Brissett can prove me wrong, but right now I'm not picking them to go to the playoffs. I'm not.
All right.
Yep.
So Jaguars with the defense and what they've done. Texans, I know you love Deshaun Watson.
I do. I'm a huge Deshaun Watson fan.
I am surprised you don't have them in the postseason.
So
what kept them out?
Okay, so there's a few things. Still not sold on the O-line, even though they improved it. That's good. Okay. All right, Kenny Stills being there is going to help, but I am a little worried of it. It's DeAndre Hopkins, all right? They are a little bit of a one-trick pony in the pass game too much. And if I was going to knock anything with Deshaun Watson, and it reared its ugly head once again in the preseason, he will not get off the first read. Every play is the last play of the game. Every play. And it bothers me a little. He's really going to clean that up. And when I say last play of the game, I mean every play is, look at DeAndre Hopkins. He's not there. Oh, let me scramble around. It's a jailbreak. Let me make a play. And he makes a play more times than not.
Yeah.
That's great. But that shit ain't going to happen against the good teams in late in December or the AFC playoffs or anything like that. Some of those teams that are close to them, whatever it may be, that just scares me. No Jadeveon Clowney on that side of the ball, okay? Whitney Merciless was not the same guy last year. They lose Kareem Jackson. They lose Honey Badger. Okay? They lose Lamar Miller. Those are big losses to me. To where the Texans, I still think are a pain in the butt. I just think they just missed this year and don't make it.
Justin Casey left a review on our podcast and asked, what do you think of Chad Kelly in the preseason? Do you think if Jacoby Brissett is struggling around week 6, do you think they could start Kelly?
No, I don't think that'll happen. Maybe if this contract didn't just happen, okay, but the fact that they gave Jacoby Brissett 2 years, $30 million, I mean, this year he's the guy. There's nothing he can do to mess it up. Nothing. Chad Kelly's been phenomenal. One of the best quarterbacks of everybody in the preseason. He tore it up. Now, he's suspended for the first 2 games. They got Brian Hoyer to be the backup, okay? One, because Chad Kelly is a little bit of a knucklehead, so you don't want to make him your backup. Sure. Off-field stuff has shown that. 2, he hasn't played a lot, and the Colts look at them and look at themselves and go, we're a playoff/Super Bowl team. We don't want to trust it to Chad Kelly, who hasn't played a down in regular season football yet. I understand that. Let me just say this, too, the last thing with Brian Hoyer. It's a 1-year deal. I know it says 3 years, $12 million. It's $9 million guaranteed. If they want to get out of this year, they will. They're not going to after this year. Oh, gosh, they had to pay him $9 million. Oh, they had to pay their quarterback position $24 million this year. It's still $11 million, and the Seahawks are paying for one guy, right? So it's not a big deal. All Hoyer is insurance for this year, right? They gave him this contract to basically sweeten it up so he would come here, because he probably was like, wait, I don't want to come there. There's no future for me. And they were like, oh, we'll give you this much money. And he's like, well, there is a future for me
More
there.
appealing now.
But I was a big fan of Chad Kelly. I'm a big fan of Chad Kelly in general. He works with the Simms family.
Yeah.
And he works with my dad and my brother.
Full disclosure.
In the offseason. Full disclosure, yes. And I know they're big believers in him as well.
Over to the AFC West. I don't think you're going to have the Raiders winning the division here.
Yeah. Let me just say my thing about the Jags. Did I say enough about the Jags? I guess I did.
You said defense, top defense, Josh Allen.
And Nick Foles.
And you'll talk about him again in the playoffs.
Okay, you're right. Good. Yes, good.
AFC West, you're not going to have the Raiders winning the division here, but our question comes from My Wife Loves My Bitmoji.
Whoa.
Is the name of the person. Do you see the Raiders being a Super Bowl contender in the next 3 years if all goes to plan?
Sure. I mean, 3 years, it might as well be a decade in the NFL. Yeah. This is where I'm excited for the Raiders. The offensive talent is through the roofs. Through the roof. Mm-hmm. There are multiple roofs.
If you had multiple roofs, then
this is through all the roofs. I mean, it takes no dummy to figure it out. I mean, if I say the names to you, like Tyrell Williams, Antonio Brown, J.J. Nelson, Josh Jacobs, you go, oh, damn, that sounds pretty good. Oh, Trent Brown's at one tackle.
Sure.
The left tackle's a first-round pick from last year at the other tackle. They got a good center in Rodney Hudson. I mean, they got a quarterback, right?
Defensively, there are more question marks for sure.
That's really where it is. That's where I got to see it. I mean, it's just young. It's unproven. There's no difference makers there. The defense is what will hold the Raiders back this year, but I do think they're going in the right direction.
Haven't won a division title since 2002, and it won't happen this year. AFC West. So we've already determined. What were the Jaguars' seed, by the way?
I got them as the 4 seed.
Okay, so we're missing the number 2 seed.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I'm not really going out on a limb here. It's probably the Chiefs, and that surprises me that the Chargers are not a playoff team for you.
I know it's hard. I tried to find those teams where I'm not sure. Okay, I'm a little bit of the belief of, if you stay the same, you got worse. Okay, it's the NFL. You got to get better every offseason, and you got to do something to improve your team. So I do think the Chiefs improved their football team, first off. Tyreek Hill being there is huge. We know that. McCole Hardman at receiver. Sammy Watkins healthier, another year under his belt of being healthy there. I just would be shocked, along with Travis Kelce and their O-line, that their offense isn't every bit as good as last year, if not better. Defense, I think, is better as well. I think the scheme they're going to play, Spagnuolo, the way the players they've built there, they're going to go a little more size-oriented, be a little more physical up front, not so wide open. Their defense stunk last year. We knew that. So Chiefs, I feel real good about. Okay? The reason I have them a number 2 seed is the last 4 weeks are tough for their schedule.
Okay.
And I think ultimately that's where they might lose out as the 1 seed to the New England Patriots. And just to give you a glimpse, they're at the Bears and at the Patriots late in December for their last few games, where I think ultimately that's will lose their tiebreaker to the Patriots, and that's why the Patriots get the 1 seed.
Still get the bye, though. Yep. You still think they get the bye along with the Patriots. They've won the division the last 3 seasons. Broncos won it 5 straight before that. Broncos not expected to do anything, make a ton of noise with Vic Fangio, but is there any scenario where they could surprise some people and jump up and make a push for the final playoff spot?
I mean, I think they're again, that's why I think the AFC is so dangerous. I think there's going to be a lot of teams like huddled between, 7-9, 8-8,
and
9-7.
They're one of those teams.
And I think the Broncos are one of those football teams. Yes, I do. I go back to the Broncos, the same thing you've heard me say about like maybe the Raiders defense. I don't know if there's enough difference makers on the offensive side of the ball for me to look at them right now and go, oh, okay, yep, they're going to pull out, those 2 or 3 games that are on the fence. I don't know. I mean, unless their defense can be like dominant like it was in their Super Bowl year where Von Miller and Chubb can just get strip sack fumbles and win games that way, which is very tough to do, I just don't know if the offense will be good enough. So that's where I question that.
Okay.
Now, the Chargers, just to give you my 2-cent spiel on that.
Yep.
All right. 1, I mean, the Chargers won a lot of games by the skin of their teeth last year in general. 2, okay, Phillip Rivers is a year older. All right, and I did not think it ended off like great last year either. Melvin Gordon, he doesn't make or break their team, but let's be clear. Melvin Gordon's the best running back the Chargers have. He is special. I mean, whether he wants to plow it up the middle for a 3-yard gain on the goal line to score a touchdown with power or catches a screen and runs for 80 yards, he's the only guy on the roster that can do that. Austin Eckler can catch a screen and he'll run for 30 or 40 yards, but he's going to get chased down and tackled. Melvin Gordon's going to score a touchdown. All right, I worry about that.
And it's feeling like he likely will sit out. I mean that's the indications right now.
Right.
They've talked about not discussing a contract extension with him during the season now.
No, right. There's nothing there right now. So I don't see it happening at least anytime soon. But then Derwin James out for the year. Okay, no Tyrell Williams at wide receiver. I think that hurts. Okay, Russell Okung dealing with some stuff. Doesn't sound like he's going to be playing anytime soon. I just look at all of those, and I just think overall, I go, yeah, I think the Chargers are one of those teams that's just on the outside looking in. Pain in the butt, very good that way, but I don't know. It's just I'm playing a little bit of the percentages, gut, and my feel here overall.
Got it. Over to the NFC now. We'll start in the NFC East.
Right.
Let me get my sheet over here. You got Eagles, Cowboys, Washington, and Giants. The division has not had a repeat winner since the Eagles won 5 straight in the early 2000s. Cowboys have won 3 of the last 5, though, including last year. So it is open. You've already indicated the Giants. You do not have them winning the NFC East.
Nope.
That was a spoiler.
Right. Giants are not going to the playoffs. We'll just hit that right now.
Okay.
They're a pain in the butt. I think they're going in the right direction. I think they're going to pull off a few upsets this year, but I don't think the New York Giants are going to the playoffs. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Redskins, same thing. Okay, let's just get them out of the way.
So no.
Redskins,
are they going in the right direction, or are they going in the wrong direction?
They're going at least sideways at best.
Okay.
Sideways at best. They're certainly not going up. I mean, there's things on their defensive line. I'm excited for their defensive line. When you talk about Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Montez Sweat, and Ryan Kerrigan, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no Trent Williams hurts. Darius Geis, question mark. Receivers, question mark. Corner play, question mark. Okay, yeah, I just don't, quarterback play, kind of a question mark. So I don't see the Redskins, making any serious runs.
So that means it comes down to the Cowboys and Eagles. You may have both in the playoffs, but only one can win the division title. And I'll throw this question out that's from Taki Z.
What up, Taki Z?
He said, can you explain to me how Doug Peterson is never mentioned along the offensive masterminds like Sean Payton, McDaniels, Sean McVay, etc.?
Right, okay.
Do you think he belongs there?
I think he's very close to there. I don't think he's in their category. No, I don't. Again, I think where Doug Peterson's been really amazing is in playoff football. But I think if you look at regular season football, there was some stale moments last year in their offense in general. Even at the end of the year, when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl in the regular season, they were very stale at the end of the year that way. He's a really awesome offensive mind.
And game theory. I think he's getting, they really embrace the game theory.
Exactly, they do. Yes, they play a full, complete game. He's a great head coach because he's a great leader. The players love him. He's very honest. There's no BS. So that makes the greatness of his head coach. As far as play callers, no, I'm not going to put him in Josh McDaniels, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan. I'm not going to put them in their class yet. I think he's that next level down guy. Him, Andy Reid. There's a few other guys along there that I would mention that I'm probably blanking out on right now.
So not a mastermind.
Bruce Arians. They're all that next group down where I just go, ooh, it's real good, but I'm not going to say they're quite up in the Jedi stratosphere.
But is his team good enough to win the division this year?
Yes, it is. Okay. And I have them winning the division. And I have them being the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. Wow. Okay, so I do. I think I look at the Philadelphia Eagles and go, got better on offense through the draft and free agency. Deshaun Jackson, Jordan Howard solidified that. I think Carson Wentz is going to be on a mission. I think they enjoyed the year of kind of flying under the radar in the offseason, not having the Super Bowl bullseye on them, getting guys like Malik Jackson on the defensive line, re-signing a guy like Vinny Curry who had been there before to add some more depth along with it. And then their secondary is scary good too. They got young guys who are a year older. They got a guy, Sidney Jones, who they drafted in the second round from Washington a few years ago, is a really good player. I just look at the Eagles and go, damn, they got everything. Okay, I got them being a number 1 seed. And one of the biggest reasons I got them being a 1 seed too, Ahmed, is their early season schedule is very favorable. I can legitimately sit here and go, now it's on paper, but they do not play a team that is physically as good as they are until week 7 of the season. They are better than the Redskins, the Falcons, the Lions, the Packers, and the Jets, and the Vikings. They're better.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see if injuries prove that way. Let's see if they play well. But I just think when I evaluate their roster and look at them, I go, ooh, they're the lead dog in every one of those matchups. They really are. Not to say that means you win every one, but I think they're going to get off to a very favorable schedule. Other thing I liked about their schedule, their tough games are at home. They got the Bears home. Could be fighting for a 1 or 2 seed with them. They got the Patriots home. They got the Seahawks home. Those are all teams I think they're going to be fighting with that, favor them, let alone they get the Cowboys in the second to last game home again at the end of the year.
So you did say they had the physical advantage weeks 1 through 6.
Yeah.
And then you stopped at week 7. That is the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
The team you think they're going to finish ahead of in the division. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys are a playoff team?
I do. I got the Dallas Cowboys going to the playoffs, and it was a tough one. I don't trust Dallas. Dallas is such a up and down football team. It's go to the playoffs, then it's fall apart. Then it's go to the playoffs, then it's fall apart. Then it's go to the playoffs, and then it's fall apart. That's what they do. Recent history would tell you this is your year. They don't go to the playoffs. Sure. I think, though, this is a year where they're just too talented for me to not put them in. I really do. And I think with Ezekiel Elliott and that news coming about, that makes me feel better about it. But I just think the Cowboys really, my only question, and you've heard me say this, is their offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore. It's the only thing we got to see. This is why I think they're desperate to sign Ezekiel Elliott, because they're going to go, wait, we haven't exactly been the greatest show on turf when Ezekiel Elliott's not here. In fact, we lose and we stink on offense when he's not here. And I just worry about those handful of games where they can't run the ball. Can their pass game carry the load enough to get them over the hump in those few games? That's really the biggest question for me for the Cowboys in general. But I still think they're a playoff football team. I have them as the number 5 seed.
They're the 5 seed in the NFC, according to Chris Simms. 2 teams
should be 3-0 to start the year, too, when you look at their early season schedule. Yes.
So first seed, division winner, the Eagles. 5 seed, Dallas Cowboys finishing behind them. Moving over to the NFC North. You got the Bears, who are the team that came out of the division last year. Packers, Vikings, Lions. We talked about the AFC South as being the most competitive 1 through 4. Any team maybe could win it.
Right.
I feel like 1 through 3 in the NFC North is maybe the most competitive 1 through 3.
Yeah.
That we have.
I would almost go 1 through 4 there too. I'm super
down on the Lions, just being from Michigan. But
yes,
you're trying to pull me out of that
I am
hole.
trying to. Not to say that I'm not picking them to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But that would be one of those teams where I'd at least put a little star next to and go, if they make the playoffs, it's not going to shock me. Okay. Do I think some things have to happen right for them? Yes, but the Lions, just to start there, O-line and D-line are real. Okay, now. I think what I saw from Matthew Stafford in preseason game number 3 looked good. I mean, it really did. And we'll see how the Darrell Bevell offense works out. I think they have a special running back in Kerryon Johnson. Their front 7 on defense is real. I question their secondary. Ultimately, I don't have the Lions going to the playoffs. I think they're a pain in the butt for a lot of teams. Vikings.
I'm putting a star by them, though.
Yeah, put the star.
Like you said to do.
We'll see.
I'm feeling better.
We'll see.
After that little thing, I'm feeling better now.
Vikings, kind of the same thing. I don't think you're going to make the playoffs. I don't. I think the Vikings are going to be a pain in the butt. I think they have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's a little overrated, though, their talent. Again, I think there's a lot of good players there. Do I think Daniel Hunter is a little overrated? Yes. Everson Griffin, I need to see him bounce back after a very odd year last year. So they got to see that. Anthony Barr, they paid him a lot of money. He's a good player. Do I think he's a little overrated? Yes. Xavier Rhodes. They paying him like he's a top 5 corner in football. He's not. That's just in. And Mike Zimmer said that during the offseason. He's got to start playing like one of the best corners in football. I didn't look that much better to me in the preseason. That scares me. I don't know if they have great depth on their team, and I worry about their pass offense being only 2 guys. Okay? And I got to question the offense in general altogether. So I got them missing out.
I think you like the Lions better than the Vikings.
I might. You're right. There's a lot of things I like about the Lions better than the Vikings. And yeah, I'm very close with those 2 teams and how I kind of envision that playing out. Now I got the Packers at number 2 in the division, but not making the playoffs.
Oh no! Out of the playoffs again.
It actually hurt my heart. Okay, and I really did, because I try not to get caught up in my bias. Of course, we know. Yes, I'm rooting for Aaron Rodgers,
and the playoffs are so much better with Aaron Rodgers.
Of course they are. Of course they are. But defense should be better. Hoping they have a run game. I got to see it first. I mean, Matt LaFleur and the 25th ranked offense in football last year with the Tennessee Titans, the 29th ranked pass offense. And then who are his weapons? Who's he going to throw to? Who's his number 1 receiver in Green Bay?
It's Adams, Devontae Adams.
Right, and who's number 2? You think?
I mean Geronimo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, good. I don't mean to be. I'm not trying to be a dick to you.
Right.
But I'm just trying to make the point where, like, here you are, a guy that plays football, and you're like, I mean Geronimo. So I worry about that. I worry about their difference makers on the offensive side of the ball too. I don't know about the system, and then I'm going, damn. On offense, it seems like it's still going to have to be a lot of Aaron Rodgers, like, making it happen as usual. Yeah. Now, I think the defense will keep them in games, but I think the NFC is tough, and I think ultimately, I just left the Packers out. I got to see it through this LaFleur offense to believe it. I just don't know in general.
Oh, man, if they don't make the playoffs, though, that all the talk between Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur not getting along, and then they're losing, and that's going to be
I just worried about this. This is the stretch I worry about. I mean, of course, Bears week 1, okay? And then they got the Vikings and Broncos 2 and 3, which, again, the even matchups. We'll see where they go. But then it's the Eagles, and then it's the Cowboys, and then I think the Lions are dangerous. Okay, the Raiders, they're better than the Raiders. Raiders are dangerous nonetheless, but then it's at the Kansas City Chiefs, at the Chargers, the Carolina Panthers. I'm not so sure they're going to be in a good enough spot after the first 10 weeks of the year to where I go, ooh, like they might be in a spot where they have to win out the last 7 games of the year to win. To go to the playoffs, and I just don't know if they're that caliber of a football team.
So it's funny. So there are a lot of people that think that this division could go Bears, Packers, Vikings.
I know
it'll be close, but it sounds like you think that the Bears could win this division by a couple of games.
I do. I think the Bears are clearly the best team. I don't think there's a weakness on their football team in general. Their biggest thing is just consistency from Mitchell Trubisky, who I still think is much better than people want to give him credit for. He certainly didn't lose that wild card game against the Philadelphia Eagles. In fact, he made all the plays to help them win the game. But there is some moments last year where he missed throws or made decisions where you just go, WTF, what the are you doing? And those moments do need to improve to a degree.
It's funny you bring him up because we do have a comment from DDHJJJK.
What up?
He just button mashed there. You know when you just hit the keyboard and you just do whatever?
Right.
That's what he did for his username. He asked specifically about Mitchell Trubisky, and he said, what shot do the Bears have to win the Super Bowl? We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But what specifically do you need to see from Mitchell to know that he is making the next steps and taking those next steps?
I think it's really just the accuracy, the few throws a game where you go, damn, I mean, there was 3 guys there. What's he doing? Why is he even throwing that ball there? Decision making is certainly a thing about it. And then he's one of the best running quarterbacks in football. I'd like to see him become one of the best scrambling quarterbacks in football. And people might be going, what the hell is the difference? Okay, here's the difference. When Patrick Mahomes runs around behind the line of scrimmage, he's running around just to go, somebody get open so I can unleash my rifle and throw a 50-yard bomb and really gash this defense. When Mitchell Trubisky runs around, his eyes go down and he's looking to run. He becomes a true runner. If he could find a little blend of, let me set up and find a pass, or let me see if there's anything here, I think it's going to make him more dangerous ultimately and make that Bears offense more dangerous.
What seed for the Bears?
I got the Bears as a number 3 seed.
3 seed.
Eagles 1, Bears 3.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. NFC South.
We
got Saints, who have won the last 2 division titles there.
Yep.
Falcons, who I know you like. You like Matt Ryan. Think he could have a good year.
Yep.
Panthers, you like them. And the Bucks, your former squad.
Yep.
So looking at Vegas, the Saints have remained a heavy favorite all season in the NFC South. But here's the but. The last month or so, or last actually few months, Carolina has steadily seen their odds improve to win this division. Saints still the heavy favorite to win it. Carolina improving there. Where do you want to start with the NFC South? What team do you want to pick out?
Okay, well, I'll start with Tampa. Okay, Tampa.
Are you starting from the bottom?
Yes, I am. Okay. Tampa is going to be in the bottom, I think, ultimately.
Bruce Arians, the mastermind with Jameis Winston, can't.
I think there'll be a lot of exciting moments and yards and big plays. I don't know if it translates to wins. Okay, I worry always about Bruce Arians, their ability to protect the quarterback. I also worry about their ability to run the ball. Okay. And then I got to see Jameis Winston not go full Tropic Thunder a few times to really believe that he won't go full Tropic Thunder, because he usually does that once every 3 weeks where you go, what the, like, I've never seen anybody do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to see that. Plus the defense is young, a little unproven. I just can't put them there yet. The Atlanta Falcons, I think, are going to be a pain in the butt, Ahmed. But again, I think there's lack of depth on the football team. I'm not so sure about the offensive line. They was not good in the preseason,
and they've tried to beef it up. I mean,
they tried.
They did everything they could.
Right.
And some people have been out and
they've been all over the place. Right, they have. Yeah, exactly right. So there's all that. I think they're going to put up points and yards too. I don't know if they're a deep enough football team. I don't think they're going to be able. Hey, when they were at their best in 2016, they were the best run team in football. They could just gash you, and that made Matt Ryan and Julio Jones that much more dangerous. I don't know if the run game's going to be there like that. Even with Devontae Freeman back, I think he might be a guy that's maybe taking too many shots and about to kind of slow down a little bit. Defense, there's things I like. Again, I mean, there's talent. I don't love their corners. I like N'Keal Harry. Their safety number 22, Keel. Man, what's his name again? Yeah, Keanu O'Neal. Sorry, Keanu O'Neal. I had N'Keal Harriet. I like a lot of players, but I think depth concerns me there. And lack of creativity on both sides of the ball, system-wise, I think scares me to a degree. So I got the Falcons missing the playoffs.
So then it's a two-team race. You have Panthers and Saints. As I mentioned, Saints the heavy favorite. Are they your team? Are they your division winner?
The Saints are not my division winner. I got the Saints going in as the number 6 seed this year.
So they're a playoff team.
They're a playoff team, yes. But I got them going in as a 6 seed. Okay. My biggest reason being,
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, certainly. I did not look great at the end of the year last year. I wasn't necessarily in love with the way it looked against the Jets in preseason game number 3. There were some completions there, but I did not think the ball was necessarily just flying through the air. There was a lot of catches where it was boom, 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 and it was like, oh gosh, if that was against a greased up defense, that might have been intercepted. So I am concerned about that aspect, let alone I'm playing the percentages of 2 big letdown years and them maybe being a little bit of a letdown themselves, right? Having to rebound from all that. And then my biggest thing with determining in this, with the Saints especially, the start of their schedule, you could argue is as tough as anybody I've seen in the NFL. When you go Houston Texans, at the Rams, at the Seahawks, Cowboys, Buccaneers at home, who have traditionally given them problems, at the Jaguars, at the Bears, those first 7 weeks, I think that the Saints are going to dig themselves into a little bit of a hole and then have to fight their way out of it. End of the season schedule, a little more favorable towards them. And, again, I think they're in the playoffs. They're one of those teams that gets hot at the end of the year, and we all go, have the Saints found their mojo? Yeah. And are they going to make a run? They certainly are capable of doing that.
Start playing at home in the second half of the season.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yes. So, I got them. And then, of course, that leads to Panthers.
They're your division winner.
I'm going with them.
Ron Rivera and the Panthers.
You can't pick everything just chalk from the year before, okay?
We hate that.
Well, no. And the reality shows, other than the AFC East, that chalk doesn't happen that much, So that's where I go a little different here in general. And my big thing with the NFC South and the Carolina Panthers is they have one question mark. Can they have somebody that can really rush the passer on the edge? That's going to be the biggest thing to be answered all year. That's why they took Brian Burns in the, the 16th or 17th pick in the first round. But no one's going to push them around, Ahmed. Their linebackers are phenomenal with Shaq Thompson and Kuechly. I think their corner and secondary play is better than people realize. Dante Jackson and Bradbury, I think, are very good corners. Offensively, it's the best O-line Cam Newton's ever had. I think it's the best weapons he's ever had. And I think Ron Rivera can tell his seat's a little hot. And I think, like, desperation leads teams to, play desperate, be focused. And I think the Carolina Panthers are a really good football team. I got the Panthers as my number 2 seed.
They've got the bye.
They got the first round bye.
Wow. So
yes,
Panthers
sir.
is a 2 seed, so we've got, that means in the NFC West is that we have just one.
Can you believe that?
One playoff team.
Yes, sir.
Seahawks just got Jadeveon Clowney. I don't know if that changed your thinking at all. Rams have won the last 2 titles. Seahawks 3 of 4 before that.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't remember what you picked. I'm going to say you have to have picked the Rams.
Nope.
You didn't?
Nope.
The Rams are not making the playoffs.
I'm not picking the Rams. Yeah. The Rams are probably one of my one surprise team that I'm going to go don't make the playoffs. I don't know. Again, this is me more on gut, okay?
Yeah.
A little bit Super Bowl hangover. Haven't seen them in the preseason. I do believe if you're staying the same, you're getting worse. The Rams didn't do anything to get better this offseason. They can say whatever they want. If you want to go Ndamukong Suh for Clay Matthews, I'd take Ndamukong Suh. If you want to go Eric Weddle for LaMarcus Joyner, I take LaMarcus Joyner. They lost both of those guys. Weddle and Clay Matthews are certainly good, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay them. But, yes, Whitworth a year older. Their best offensive lineman, Roger Saffold's gone. He went to the Tennessee Titans. Todd Gurley, knee issue. Okay, Cooper Kupp coming off of a knee issue, a torn ACL. Aqib Talib a year older. Okay, I just look at it and just go, hey, there's a lot of things I like with the Rams. I just think it's going to be a little bit of a letdown year for them because of the things I mentioned, and mainly being the Super Bowl hangover that you lose.
You do see that a lot.
It's tough. Look at history. Again, anybody other than the Patriots, go back and look. It's not too good for the Super Bowl loser, all right? And then this is what I think scares me too. The Rams' schedule is tough. I mean, when you go at Carolina week 1, ooh, that's scary. And then the Saints, and then at Cleveland on a Monday night, okay? Then you got Tampa at home, okay, that should be good. But then it's at Seattle. The 49ers are going to be much improved. I mean, the 49ers are one of those teams I got, they're going to be a pain in the ass, but I just don't got them. I got to see it to believe it.
Sure.
But then you get to this little stretch here, week 10 through 15, where it's at the Steelers, the Bears, the Ravens, okay, cupcake with the Cardinals, and then it's the Seahawks and at the Cowboys. I think ultimately that stretch right there is where I looked at it and I just said, you know what? I'm going to put the Rams on the outside looking in this year. They'll make the appropriate moves next offseason and then be very relevant and right back in the Super Bowl conversation.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, can you believe that?
No Rams, Seahawks winning the division.
No Niners. You know what?
Niners. Cardinals, they got Kyler Murray first year quarterback, first year head coach with Cliff as well. So no one expecting a ton from the Cardinals. Maybe they can get a few more wins than they had last year. There are a lot of people in the Bay Area that think this is the year for Kyle Shanahan.
I know.
This is the year that they have to make that next step. They have to be at least contending for a playoff spot, if not getting that playoff spot.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be in the conversation late in the year?
I do. I think they're going to be contending. I think there's a lot of things to like about their team in general. Again, I always start up front. They're not going to lose too many battles up front with their O&D line the way they are. There's some question marks as far as cover corners, maybe secondary question marks, guys there who I like who have not been able to stay healthy. You got young receivers as Deebo Samuel and Jalen Hurd and Dante Pettis. Are they going to be able to depend on them on the offensive side of the ball? But the big question is Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And it's, again, like what it came down to with teams where I was on the, do I pick this team or that team? I went with the one that had a few more proven commodities. And I just can't put all my eggs into the, I trust Jimmy Garoppolo basket right now. I just can't. Right. I couldn't do it. Hope they prove me wrong, but I couldn't do it.
Let's go through the bracket, the NFC playoff bracket.
I'm tired.
You need to take a deep breath
yes,
right
now?
Yes, I do. You want to take 5?
No, let's go. Let's push through it.
No, run a lap around the newsroom here.
Oh, yeah, that'll help me catch my breath.
Good, yeah, sure. Okay, so the NFC playoff bracket.
Yeah.
Let's just go through it.
Yeah, here, I got it right here, just so you did, because I know you wrote a lot of chicken scratch.
I did. I got you. I don't have your bracket.
Right.
So you've got Cowboys and Seahawks in a wild card matchup.
Right.
And wait. No, Cowboys and
you're right.
And Saints.
Yeah, no, don't look at it that. I had to match them up with who they play in the second round. They played the lower seed.
So then you got Cowboys, Seahawks. Who do you have winning that one?
Okay, Cowboys, Seahawks. Okay, we're going to have the Cowboys going to Seattle. I'm going to take the Cowboys. Okay. I think they're going to beat. I think it's a bad matchup for the Seattle Seahawks, who pride themselves on overpowering teams. We're the bullies on the team. The Cowboys are the same team, except they have the better version of the roster. And I just think ultimately them playing on the road with that run game, everything like it, I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win an ugly game in the wild card round against Seattle.
You got the Bears as the division winner in the NFC North, taking on the 6th seed Saints, who barely got into the playoffs.
Barely got it, and I'm going to go with the Saints upsetting Chicago at home. Again, I think it's a tough matchup for the Bears. The Bears are a team that, likes to dominate people up front physically as well. They're not going to do that to the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are big and physical on both sides of the ball. Plus, I just think with Sean Payton, his throw, his ability to find seams in an offense and playoff game planning, I'm going to go in the Saints to win an ugly. The only thing that scares me there is Drew Brees and bad weather outside in the cold. Is not necessarily a good thing usually for the New Orleans Saints. But
because it will be like 3 degrees.
That's what I get. That's what I get scared of. That's right. And if it's really, really bad weather, then I'm going to be wrong and the Bears are going to win. But if it's like global warming climate stuff and it's like 48 degrees, then I like the Saints' chance.
Well, then we're all dead though. That's the problem with that though. We don't survive it. We don't survive to see that. So then you got Eagles, who get the first round by the 1 seed, taking on the Saints.
Yes.
And you have the Saints pulling off another upset?
Absolutely not. No. I do not. I have the Eagles going to the NFC Championship game, winning a game at home. Again, Drew Brees on the road, outside, northeast conditions for the second week in a row. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't say, he's going to do it twice. Got the Eagles going to the NFC Championship game.
The other bye went to the Panthers. They take on the 5 seed Cowboys, who you have beating the Seahawks in the first round. Panthers, Cowboys, your winner.
Awesome game, similar physical brawl type of game, but I'm going with the Carolina Panthers to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I think they match up really well with the Dallas Cowboys, and I think the Panthers, with North Turner, their offensive coordinator, I think they just have more creativity than the Dallas Cowboys do on the offensive side of the ball to be able to score just a few more points there.
So then Eagles and Panthers, after the Panthers just barely get by the Cowboys, what do you have going to the Super Bowl?
I'm going Eagles. I got the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. That's
NFC champion.
Yep, Eagles are going to the Super Bowl with Carson Wentz. And what will be the storyline of Super Bowl 54? We'll get back to you in a second after these AFC brackets.
Carson Wentz making it through a full year, getting the team to the Super Bowl. That whole career storyline for him
would be amazing.
Crazy so far, and that would be an amazing
another
chapter for him. So let's go over to the AFC. And our first matchup is 5-4 with the Jaguars and Ravens.
Yep, we got the Ravens going to the Jaguars. Two teams that pride themselves on being the big bullies. Jaguars are at home. Nick Foles, I just think, gives them too much offense this year. And I think with the Ravens, that run game, I don't know, we'll see what Lamar Jackson does in the pass game, but if you made me peg it right now, this is not the team they want to see in the wild card. I got the Jaguars winning.
The other one is an interesting matchup. You got Steelers and Browns, an intra-divisional matchup.
Yep.
And the Browns you had as the 6th seed, just barely getting in. A lot of people think they could win the division. Not you.
Right.
You think the Steelers are stronger in the regular season. How about in this playoff matchup?
Yep, I'm going there too. I think they'll probably split their regular season matchup, but I think the Steelers win the tiebreaker in the wild card game at home. Steeler football, just the experience there that the Steelers have playing in those big moments, everything like that, I give them the edge. And I, of course, think the Steelers are really one of the better teams in all of football.
Okay, so let's stick with the Steelers real quick. They got the Chiefs, then the 2 seed, your 2 seed in the playoffs. Chiefs off the bye, taking on the Steelers.
Yeah, and I look at the Steelers and go, they could beat anybody in the AFC. This is the one team they don't want to see. This is the worst matchup for them, the Chiefs. I really do think so. The Steelers, their defensive line, what do they want to do on defense? They're not necessarily known for their coverage. They want to just overpower the line of scrimmage and make things tough on the quarterback. Wrong team to do it against. Chiefs O-line, really good. Mahomes, of course, we know is elusive as hell. And I just think the passing game and offensive weapons are too much for that Steelers secondary, to where I think this is kind of a back-and-forth fun game, but I think ultimately the Chiefs win at home and go on to the AFC Championship game.
So off the first round bye, the Chiefs get a win. The Patriots have the first round bye. You have them facing up with the Jaguars. Do you have the Patriots moving on as well?
No.
You do not?
I can't believe it either, but I'm playing really the percentages here. And I think if there are the teams that can come up and give the Patriots problems, right? to me in history. Jacksonville 2 years ago, when they had them down 20-10.
Saw that.
Right? The Baltimore Ravens, the same way. With those years with Joe Flacco and Ray Lewis, they gave the Patriots runs for their money, let alone beat them a few times. Why? They're sound. They don't turn the ball over. Their defense is a force to be reckoned with. They don't try to we're going to match you with wits. Now, you're not going to outwit the Patriots. It's going to be, can you play sound football? Can you physically maybe make some plays and beat them into the ground that way? And I think the Jaguars defense is super talented to give Brady and them troubles. And yeah, I'm going with Nick Foles and his clutchness and that Jacksonville, and the fact that the Patriots have been in the AFC Championship game. How many years in a row is it now?
You figure that it has to end.
I'm just saying, I'm playing the percentage. This is the year they get caught sleeping at home and lose a game.
They don't win one game in the playoffs, according to you. And of course, don't bet against Nick Foles in January. You just don't do that.
No, you definitely don't. I've learned my lesson.
So Jaguars and Chiefs.
Yep.
The winner goes to the Super Bowl. Yep. AFC champion is.
And you could have so many cool storylines here. Yeah. I mean, you could have Nick Foles versus Carson Wentz in the Super Bowl, right? If the Jags go, but if the Chiefs go, it's Andy Reid versus old team, right? The
Eagles, yeah.
And ultimately, I'm going with the Chiefs. I am. The Chiefs at home. I just think those special playmakers, and even though the Chiefs defense, I don't think it's going to be special. I think it will be improved and good enough to slow an offense like Jacksonville down, to where I give the Chiefs-Eagles the Super Bowl matchup for Super Bowl 54.
So let's play it all through. So you got Chiefs and Eagles in the Super Bowl. Who wins?
All right, so wait, first off, I'm going Eagles.
You're going to go Eagles?
I'm picking the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Yep. If you're going to make me pick a team, I'm going with the Eagles.
I'm making you.
You are. Okay, now more importantly, who are you picking for your Super Bowl?
Okay, so my Super Bowl. So I've looked at this. I looked at it all day yesterday. Mainly because I had the whole day with the family.
Right.
And when you have a whole day with the family, you need to
try to
breaks.
avoid them.
Yeah, you take breaks.
Right.
Not avoid totally, but just you got to carve out some time for yourself. And I was looking at the schedules, trying to look at the numbers.
Oh, I like it. I see seedings going on over here. I like this.
So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans are going to make the Super Bowl.
Okay.
The AFC
as a 6 seed. You got them as a 6 seed?
As a 6 seed.
Okay.
Yeah, Texans are in.
Okay.
And I'm going to go Rams, who you did not have.
Right. I don't have either one in. Yes.
So I'm going to go two teams that you do not have in the playoff picture. I'm going with them.
Okay.
And I will have the Rams win it. I know about the Super Bowl hangover, but I think Sean McVay, in Sean we trust.
Yes.
I think he's going to be able to scheme something up and figure out a way to get Jared Goff to that next level.
Definitely scares me. Yes, he's certainly capable of that.
But I'm going to go with my my MVP. Too, and I know you're going to pick your MVPs here in a second too. But my MVP, and it scared me a little bit what you said about Deshaun Watson and his reads, and not locking on to the top.
Don't let me scare you.
So now I'm second guessing that a little bit. But I thought if the Texans make a run, and
I could see that happening.
Do that in the division, that he could be the MVP guy.
Don't just because I said it, don't let me scare you.
Yeah, but you're right more times than not, and so that makes me nervous. So I'm going to stick with Deshaun Watson as my MVP.
Okay.
And Rams win it over the Texans in the Super Bowl.
All right, so just go through it. Here we go. I'm going to read out your AFC. You got Chiefs 1, Steelers 2, Patriots 3.
No, this isn't all mine. This is Peter King's.
Oh, this is Peter King's.
So I took Peter King's, but I agree
that was
with
your
those.
outline.
That's what I took out. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
He did those, which copying Peter King, much like yourself.
Right.
Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
You guys are often right. So those are Peter's seeds right there. But
all right.
I took Texans, who I think will just barely get into the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl, but the Rams will win it all.
Okay. I like it.
We'll see who's right.
We'll see who's right.
We'll put a bottle of wine on
whoever
it.
wins. Okay, if I get my Super Bowl teams or get one and you get none, then you're going to have to.
Here's the deal. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, I win.
Yes.
But for you to win, everything has to go to plan. All the division winners and all the playoff brackets.
Okay, no problem.
So that's and if that doesn't happen, then neither of us win.
All right, if you get any of your Super Bowl contenders right, or if I get any of mine right, if you get yours right, I'll go 2 buttons unbuttoned for a podcast.
No.
And if I'm right.
Not a whole podcast.
Yeah. And if I'm right, you have to go to the very top with a collared shirt, not that Henley thing.
I'll do that. I'll go all the way to the top.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.